Well, this is a first for the Gully Talks podcast. We've got our first ever winner of a TV programme. He's faced his own adversities. He's smashing through it, much like the TV show that he featured on. You can see the particular trophy which might give it away. And more importantly, actually, he's from the south side of Glasgow. It's the winner of Gladiators 2026, Josh McDonald.
Thanks for having me.
So, Josh, listen, a very, very busy man. Thank you
Yes.
for joining us on this Friday. Listen, we've got an insight. We saw articles. We saw plenty of videos
Yep.
on you, and more importantly, you brought the trophy.
Of course, can't go anywhere without it.
It's the closest we'll ever get to a Gladiators trophy, but it's quite a trophy.
It's got some weight to it for sure as well. But yeah, everywhere I go, I take it with me.
And there's only 3 of these in existence in terms of the new.
Yeah,
new
well,
show.
yeah, the male winners. So this is I'm the third male champ. So we've
Yeah.
got Finlay season 1, Joe last year, and then myself this year. So it's definitely a prestigious trophy that I'll be keeping very, very close to me.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And where do you keep it in your house?
I've got like a shelf specifically put up for it in the living room. So yeah, it's front and center in the home.
Front of centre, fantastic. Now, listen, actually, you've been here before, so you're no stranger to this place. But
Yep.
the Gladiators, I mean, you in yourself are a gladiator, you know, Royal Marines and whatnot, and obviously very physically fit. You're
Yep.
doing high rocks and whatnot. We'll get into that. But what made you want to apply for Gladiators?
Well, it was actually funny. So I technically didn't even necessarily apply for the show. Me and my partner Lauren were literally laying on the couch watching like Below Deck, I think it was, and she got a message from a member of the casting team saying like, "Seeing your Instagram account, I think you'd be really good for the show Gladiators. Would you mind applying?" She doesn't do any cardio. She's really, really fit, really in good shape, but more sort of weight based. So she replied and said, "I'll definitely apply." My partner I'm an elite CrossFit athlete. I've been doing functional fitness for the last 7 years and have a track and field background before that. So this is definitely right up my street. So she just sort of messaged back and was like, "Could my boyfriend also apply?" So then we lay on the couch, filled out the application. And a couple months down the line, I'm sitting here, the 2026 champion. So it's a bit crazy.
What was the timeline on that? When did you
I
apply?
think from applying, I think we applied around May. And then towards the end of May, he went down to Edinburgh to do like a mini sort of tryout day with other potential contenders.
Like a fitness test type
Exactly.
thing?
Yeah. Done like burpees, rowing, shuttle runs, a couple of strength tests, and you also got a little bit of like on camera sort of like, why do you want to apply for the show? Why would you be good at the show sort of thing? So it was basically like an adult PE day. So I was right in my element. Absolutely loved it. Top came off.
Egg and spin race.
Yeah, it was class. I loved it. My partner Lauren, on the other hand, wasn't really up her street. Too much cardio for her. So there was, I mean, they ran them across the UK. So every contender would have went through them. They had them in London, Manchester, Birmingham, Edinburgh for up here. So it was definitely quite competitive. And then from that, they narrowed it down to 20 males, 20 females. And then from that, 10 and 10 for the show.
Did you have a sort of inkling, like, in terms, obviously they're looking at your fitness, but
Mhm.
are they also looking at, you know, like let's say like reality shows, they're looking for
Yeah.
a certain character? Was
Yeah.
there any, like, they're building into your backstory? Was there any of that sort of stuff?
Well, definitely. I mean, ultimately, Gladiators is probably one of the most physically testing shows out there. Like the games are no joke. The Gladiators are no joke. Some of them are Olympians. You know what I mean? So you have to be very physically fit to take part in the show and even to consider applying. But as a TV show, there's obviously sort of like certain types of people that would like to get on there. So backstory plays quite a good part in it. And I can sort of see that having went through the process of being on the show now. The amount of support and the amount of messages I get, not necessarily about winning the show, but about my backstory and about sort of my caring responsibilities for Max, and it really resonates with people. So yeah, with any sort of TV show, you want to make sure you've sort of got people that could appeal to different sort of demographics and backgrounds and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a tough process to get onto the show, but it was so much fun.
We'll speak about young Max, and obviously it's been a bit of a landmark day for him as well. We'll
Yeah.
give him his flowers for that as well. But in terms of yourself, you know, Royal Marines, and like you say, you know, you've got various disciplines in fitness. What in school? What were you like? Were you just like
I was
star performer?
Oh, of course, yeah.
What school
yeah.
did you go to?
At Ross Hall Academy.
Right.
So we're like Cordonald way. So yeah, I was that guy that took PE a bit too far. Like absolutely, I would try and skip maths, English, chemistry just to get down and do some more.
The teachers knew the potential.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. It was funny. One of my PE teachers was actually
Shout them out.
Mr. Fraser.
Mr.
Shout out
Fraser.
Mr. Fraser. He was my mum's PE teacher as well. So he sort of taught my family in a sense in PE, and my mum and my aunties and my entire family really have always been very, very sporty. So I think they knew that there was potential there. My brother Ben, so he's a couple of years younger than me. Him as well. He went to Scottish schools and held like records in javelin and stuff like that. So my team, my family have always been very, very sporty. I was always that guy that was like good at all sport, no matter what. Volleyball, badminton, swimming, running, rugby, football. I was good at it all. Not necessarily the best at any one discipline, but I could play any sport and play it to a high level. So yeah, PE in school was my bag for sure.
That's great. And then the Royal Marines, when did this
Yeah, so
happen?
I always wanted to be in the services. I always sort of knew that was a path I would be keen to go down. But just with like family life and situation, obviously my mum unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer and she went through a long sort of process with that. Um, her being a single parent of three young lads, she was definitely had her hands full. And me being the eldest of the three, I feel like it was sort of my responsibility to sort of support and be there for her as well. And of course that's what I wanted to do. So the army, the Marines, the services, it wasn't really something I was actively pursuing, but mum's sort of health got to a point where she was a little bit better. She was sort of self-sufficient and she was looked as if it was sort of on the mend or she was improving. So I thought, right, I've maybe got a window where I can pursue this goal. So when I was looking at the services and deciding what to do, obviously the commandos, the Royal Marines, they're like the elite of the elite. The UK's top fighting force. So that's definitely where I wanted to go. The most physically demanding, you had to be the best physically in terms of all your candidacies. So I applied for that, the Marines, and then lockdown happened and COVID sort of started, which sort of threw off the application process. Um, Went down to Limpston and you went through like a 4 week crop. So you basically do like admin, basic phys and stuff like that for 4 weeks. And then that will filter down the group of lads into the starting troop. So yeah, the Royal Marine training down in Limpston was honestly it was one of the hardest experiences of my life, physically, mentally. Like nothing can put into words just how hard it is, but I strangely loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. Everything about it I loved.
Did it push you to your breaking point?
And beyond, past it. See what you think you can physically do. Like they'll get that plus another 50%. Like it's crazy. And I think that's what's really good around it. Like you don't know what you're capable of doing until you're forced at your limits. So yeah, it's no joke down there at all, and there's no sugarcoating anything. This is what needs done. We need to get it done. So it was brutal. It was really, really hard physically and mentally. But again, I strangely loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like I've been competing in sport my entire life, and this seemed to be like the pinnacle of that. So it was going through training, and then unfortunately, the base sort of had to get closed down just due to COVID. So everyone got sent back home, and we were told we would be able to come back in a couple of months. But thankfully, I managed to get pulled back earlier than expected because I was just super keen to get started. So when the opportunity came back to go down and start training again, I done so. Ran through a fair amount of months down there at training. Absolutely loved it. And then essentially got to the week before the commando phase starts. So the Royal Marine training split into sort of like three main sections. So just before I started that last phase, unfortunately, my mum's health just deteriorated quite rapidly. I suspect it was deteriorating for a while, but she knew how much I was enjoying what I was doing. So as all mums do, they obviously want to see their sons pursue their goals and do what makes them happy. So I suspect she sort of kept a bit from me, but it got back to me that she wasn't doing too well, and I sort of had a decision to make at that point. If you pass out as a commando, you get 4 years sort of minimum service. Caring for mats comes with a wide variety of different challenges, and I thought if I pass out, I'm here for 4 years. Like, how does that look for mum? So I had a really really tough decision to make, and ultimately I chose to leave the Marines, sort of just put that goal to the side, and just sort of get back home and support my mum and be there for my family.
I mean, it's just incredible hearing, even that was just like a few years ago, but just the
Yeah,
challenges that you've had, and even obviously with your mum, but just speaking about the Marines and
yeah.
obviously, kinship care for young Max as
Mhm.
well. And, you must have built up a lot of resilience.
Yeah, well, that's obviously one of sort of the mottos when you're in the Marines is sort of mental resilience. And I've been through my brothers, my family in general. I've been through a lot of adversity. Most of my life, there's always been a lot of different challenges there. And when mum's health deteriorated, and when she first got diagnosed, that obviously was just like earth shattering news, especially for a young age. I must have been around like 18 at the time, so a young lad, and Max was obviously very young. My brother Ben was even younger, so I've always sort of had to have like a strong mental attitude because there's a lot of adversity I've always had to deal with. But I feel that the adversity that I've went through has sort of built me into the man that I am today. Um, I don't think I'd be where I am if I didn't have the level of mental resilience that I do have. As I said, mum was a single parent, so as much as I was potentially struggling and the news and the situations I was having to deal with were really, really tough, I had to be there for my mum and I had to be there for my younger brother. So I didn't have time necessarily to think, worry, get overly upset around it. I just had to be there and be that rock sort of thing. So yeah, it's definitely brought up quite a high tolerance for adversity, I would say.
Yeah, have you had a chance just to be you and just to process?
uh no, I mean yes and no. That I'm a very productive guy. I
Yeah.
always like to be forward thinking and forward moving. Potentially that comes at a detriment of not processing or dealing with certain emotions, but the sun will rise, the sun will set every single day. So we can dwell on the past and we can dwell on the negatives, or we can accept the situation that you're in and strive forward. And that's just kind of my mindset with everything. I always sort of look to the next goal, the next challenge. What can I do today to make myself 1% better?
And with young Max, so today he's got his first sponsorship, is that right?
I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly I couldn't believe it. So it was actually one of my mates who I know through CrossFit. Um, Max started CrossFit off the back of Gladiators. Um, Sitting here with the trophy today and being a 2026 champion of the show is obviously a tremendous achievement and one of the highlights of my life. But I would trade the trophy for what I've got with Max now. It's honestly, I can't put into words just how magical that is. He's really took inspiration from the show, which is exactly what it's about. It's about inspiring that next generation and inspiring the nation's youth. So from me going on the show and sort of being part of Gladiators and for him watching it and coming on that journey with me, it really lit a fire in him to pursue exercise, fitness. So he started doing CrossFit down in CrossFit Glasgow. So he trains with me maybe 3 times a week in there, and he absolutely loves it, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I've been putting up some stuff on my social media like Max's workout of the day, and one of my mates who has like an apparel brand sort of messaged me and said like, "This is fantastic, good on him. I want to send him some stuff." This was a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, really appreciate that, mate, that he would be over the moon with it." Gave him my address, and then yeah, literally yesterday, a little parcel came to the door. Max the legend. I was like, "Max, you've got a delivery. What's this?" And gave it to him. He ripped it open like it was Christmas, and yeah, he's got a full gym set in there. He
Oh,
put it on
yes.
straight away. He went to the gym first thing this morning in it as well. So yeah, he's absolutely buzzing. So yeah, he's got a sponsorship, and I'm yet to get one so far.
Listen, you need to catch up with young Max.
I
And
know he's beating me.
I think when we look at the final
Hmm.
episode, you know, a bit that got me was when the VT and Max pops up, and I
Yeah.
saw, you know, how it made you
Yeah,
feel.
almost got me, almost
I
choked a little bit
know.
on that. 'Cause I didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, I
I
know.
didn't
I
know.
could see
Yeah.
that they sort of landed that on you, and obviously it was a. I don't know if that spurred you on more, but
Hmm.
I mean, it must have been crazy seeing that during the
Yeah,
final.
for sure.
It's a Max. Basically, it's a message of encouragement, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Yeah.
definitely is. But with Max's autism, he struggles in social situations. He's doing a lot better now than he used to. But there's like 5,000 people in that stadium, and he's front and center. All the cameras are on him, so it's definitely a heightened environment. And he struggled a little bit to deal with that in the heats. Obviously, he was down at the heats with my family watching me at the live show. But I think it was just a little bit too much for him, so we made decisions to sort of keep him at home, so he was in his own space, and I would be FaceTiming, phoning him, and keeping updated. But so yeah, I'm assuming on the final, the team at BBC would have reached out to my brother Ben, who was sort of caring for him while I was down in Sheffield, and I'm very grateful to Ben for doing so, and for Max for doing so as well, because yeah, I didn't expect it, and when I seen his little face on the screen, I thought, right, I need to win this now. It would definitely push me forward.
And you absolutely you did that with flying colours. And so your kinship carer for Max
Yeah,
in a line, what does that mean?
essentially just means that his
Yeah,
guardian's basically responsible for sort of raising him. Me, my uncle Craig, my brother Ben, and my auntie Kelly sort of primarily take responsibility for Max, caring for him, raising him, getting him to school, getting him after school, feeding him, clothing him. Like it's just when Mum passed away, we just from that second just sort of took it on, and we're like, right, who's getting Max to school? And you just sort of we've stumbled through it for a little bit. Obviously, it's a complete change of circumstances. Like you have your own individual goals and where you want to go to in life, and essentially all stops because you now have a 13-year-old boy that you need to raise. So it was definitely challenging, still is challenging to this day. But I'm very grateful for my family. We're very sort of close knit, and ultimately all that matters is Max's happiness. So yeah, it's been challenging, and as I say, still is challenging. But Max is doing so well. He's came on leaps and bounds, and for him at the time when mum passed, so young, like the adversity that I've been on, and I'm now 27. He's 15, you know what I mean? So he's taken on a lot at such a young age. So I'm so sort of proud of how he is just now.
Yeah, I was just about to ask how is he processed it, also given his his challenges as well.
Yeah. With his autism, to be honest, I don't really know if it helped in a sense because maybe there was like a breakdown of understanding sort of truly what was happening. I say unfortunately, somebody had to. I had to sort of be the one to break the news to him, and I think I struggled to tell it more than he struggled to receive it, sort of thing. I don't know if potentially his autism sort of a wall went up or whatever like that, but he's definitely dealt with it. It's still something that we all struggle with even to this day. Max and mum were super close, like inseparable best friends. So yeah, it's just really challenging for Max, and it's a shame to see him go without his mum. I don't know, obviously she's my mum as well, but like he's so young, he's such a young boy. Like no child should ever go without a parent, sort of thing. So I know that's why me and my family are just so supportive of Max in any sort of way, anything he needs that we're there because yeah, he's taken on a lot at such a young age, and he does it in his stride. To be honest, he's such an inspiration.
He definitely is, and he always looks like just a joy, such
hmm
joy in his face. But what's the support like in Scotland? Like under
Yeah,
these
so
circumstances?
with the term even kinship carer,
Yeah,
I had never heard of that term until after I'd won Gladiators, and obviously you're sort of flung into a bit of a spotlight. And so the kinship charity, I've reached out since Gladiators, which I'm extremely grateful for. Sort of helped to educate me
are they
on.
based in Scotland? Are they
So it's actually England and Wales.
England and
There's
Wales?
no. So from my talks with them and my understanding, there's actually no sort of kinship charity base in Scotland. There's nothing really here for it at all.
That's incredible.
It's really disappointing.
Sorry, because Scotland are usually very forward thinking with a
Yes.
lot of things
Yeah,
like that.
yes, I've had calls with the charity. Again, based England and Wales, there's nothing up here. They're wanting to sort of branch into Scotland, but policies, legislation obviously differs in Scotland to the rest of the UK. So I think there's some hurdles there they're trying to overcome. With me obviously having this little bit of a spotlight at the moment, I think they're keen to sort of use me as sort of like a foothold in Scotland that we can hopefully build a little bit of support around because having gone through this experience and I'm receiving messages on a daily basis from people in a similar situation to me with Max. So there's definitely people out there in Scotland that are going through the same struggles that I am. And if I can be just a little bit of somebody they can look to and ask questions and talk to it about, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to sort of support as many people as I can. But I was never aware of the term at all. When mum passed, there was no formal like this is what happens with Max. Me and my family all sort of came together and said, listen, Max is never going to go anywhere else and we're going to raise him up. And that was just something that we said and agreed upon, and from that day on just ran with. There seems to be a bit of a definitely a breakdown, lack of information. I'm not too sure what it is, but yeah, I'd never heard of the term. My mum passed. I've got a young brother. I now need to raise him. It was as black and white as that. It's not until recently that I've actually heard that there's terms and there's potentially support and all that available. It was never communicated to us.
Yeah, it's actually incredible just hearing that. Well, more
Yeah,
so from the perspective, of course, it's it's very much like, yep, Max is family. Of course, we're
yeah.
going to all pull together. You're working your way through it, but
Mhm.
just that there's no sort of guidelines, maybe not the right word,
Yeah,
but
or
at least
guidance.
guidance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally, Max was working with Cams for a lot of sort of his sort of teenage years.
Cams,
Yeah, I don't know the
right?
actual
Yeah,
terminal.
yeah, yeah.
Essentially, it's the group that sort of helps with his autism.
Okay,
So there's, I think, under the Cams umbrella, there's like funding support, there's like psychologist support, emotional support. Mom used to work very closely with Cams to help deal with Max's autism. Um, so I think in that initial stage, we sort of leaned on them to be like, right, what do we do? Like, what funding was mum receiving with Max? Like, what can we potentially get to help support Max? what's his current care package. Like, we were very much chasing our tail and trying to gather all the information that we could. And again, that was down to us to try and make that first step and have that conversation. There was no sort of like, this is your options. We had to sort of source everything ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was stressful ordeal. Thankfully, my Uncle Craig primarily took over that side of things. He deals with all the stressful meetings. Me and my brother Ben deal with stressful Max.
Yeah, no, listen, family are pulling together. You know,
Yeah.
you're a really solid unit, obviously. And where does Ben fit into all this?
Yeah,
Like,
same
obviously,
same as myself. Yeah, so
he's a couple of years younger as well.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
studying, or is
So
he?
I think he's 25. Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
hopefully I've got that right, Ben. I think he's 25. He's been working full time since he was like 15. So
Yeah.
he's a grafter. He's
Oh,
been working
wow.
full time,
Yeah.
60 hour weeks non-stop. So yeah, he's the exact same as me. Me and Ben sort of like split the week between us. I usually have Max on like a Monday and a Thursday night. He will have Max on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and then we'll sort of split the weekends. My Uncle Craig, who has Max just now, thank you very much, Craig. Matt
Sure,
Kelly
yeah.
will jump in at the weekends as well,
Yeah.
and help him out. So we all just sort of chip in and help each other. And again, we couldn't do it without any one of us. So we're very grateful for each other.
Absolutely. And listen, we're looking forward to seeing Max's
Mhm.
journey, or continuing to see it
I
on,
know,
on,
man.
on
They're getting
socials.
fitter than me soon, I think.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be on the next season of
Next Gladiators.
Of Gladiators, yeah. But I mean, it very much feels like, you know, your story, these things were all meant to happen, because
Yeah.
obviously, yes, you're a winner at Gladiators. I know you said you would trade the trophy, you know,
Yep.
for the happiness of Max, but you're now like almost like a flag bearer,
Yeah,
you know, for let's say raising awareness about being a kinship carer. And
100%.
you say there's no
Yeah.
organisation really formally in
Mhm.
Scotland, which I still
Yeah.
think it's incredible.
It's madness, yeah. I've always sort of went through life never saying no. Like, I'll always take any opportunity that comes my way, because you don't know what it could lead to. So yeah, that this situation that I'm in just now, and even having this discussion with yourself about kingship care, it's not something I would have ever been able to forecast or plan for or see. It's very much just taking any opportunity that comes in and see what it leads to. And yeah, from winning Gladiators, there's been obviously a massive amount of awareness sort of around myself directly correlated to the show. But through my time on the show and my discussions and my story coming out, it's now led to multiple different avenues, a lot of which are situated around care. Like, hopefully I'm going to be doing some stuff with like Children's Hospital. I've got some like school initiatives and stuff like that I want to be doing as well. So, and then yeah, I'm potentially going to be an ambassador for the Kingship charity as well. So it's definitely, from something as winning Gladiators, has opened up all these other doors, which will hopefully then allow me to sort of support people that are going through similar sort of situations to myself.
Yeah, because some of the competitors that we saw on Gladiators, everyone's got not everyone, but there's a lot of people that do have a backstory
Yeah.
about their own challenges,
Yep.
and that they're going on there. Not to exercising demons is not the right, you know, is not the right explanation, but
Mhm.
they're, I don't know, maybe they're just dealing with something that they feel
Yeah.
like this platform they can sort of
Yeah.
let go of in a way.
Well, I think
And
it's just,
you
yeah,
know,
and I would agree. It's
Yeah.
like everyone obviously no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. Everyone's probably dealing with something. I feel like sport and exercise for a lot of people nowadays is an outlet for those demons, and to sort of vent any sort of frustration or emotions. And a show like Gladiators is the elite of the elite. To even apply to go on that show, you need to be very physically sort of capable. For me, my outlet with dealing with any sort of like stress and anxiety is to go to the gym and
I
sort
was
of
just about to ask, how do you decompress?
the gym, the gym. That's my decompression. When you're in the gym and when you're exercising and when you're working out, you're not focusing on anything else. My sport's CrossFit, which is incredibly challenging in and itself. You're essentially killing your body off each day you go into the gym. So when you're in that much physical pain, you can't focus or worry about anything else. All you can focus on is that moment. So yeah, there was obviously a lot of contenders on Gladiators that had their own sort of adversity and challenges they were going through in life, and potentially for those individuals, the gym was also their outlet. And Gladiators is such a unifying experience. Everyone from Gladiators, that we'd never met each other at all until we were on the show. Um, but it just pulls like-minded people together. Everyone's got their own reasons for applying to be on the show. Everyone's got their own demons to overcome, and yeah, it just really brought a good crew of people together.
When you're in the final, and you're competing and you know what's at stake,
Yeah.
again, you know, all those other thoughts go out the window, because
Yes.
you're there. You've got a crowd, and you know how did you sort of gear yourself through that? This podcast is sponsored by Superhard. Did you know 1 in 5 men in the UK suffer from erectile dysfunction? Stress, age, lifestyle, it creeps up on you. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to hold you back. Superhard is the UK's most powerful ED formula. Here's what it does. Harder, stronger erections when you need them the most. Longer lasting performance, it goes further every time. And you've got boosted arousal and blood flow. Clinically proven ingredients that actually work. You can take your relationship to the next level and give your partner the experience they deserve. Superhard uses the same active ingredients as Viagra, sildenafil and tadalafil, prescribed by our clinical team and dispensed by our UK registered pharmacy. No awkward GP appointments, no waiting rooms, just a quick online consultation and your treatment delivered discreetly to your door. Get Superhard, stay Superhard. Visit superhard.co.uk right now and sign up before 1st of May to get 20% off your first order.
Yeah, well, I've been competing at an elite level my entire life in sports, so I'm used to performing. And I'm
in fact, a TV show though.
Yeah, again,
does that matter? Is there a difference?
To be honest, no. For me, there was no difference. All I care about is winning. Like, all I'm focused on in that moment is winning. The crowd is fantastic. The experience is amazing, but I'm there to win, sort of thing. So I'm quite good at sort of zoning in the task at hand. I'm very grateful for my partner Lauren. She takes on a lot of stuff so I can focus on sport and on competing. So, and my family as well. Obviously, Max wasn't down at the shows in Sheffield, and my brother Ben sort of took on the responsibility of making sure Max was okay while I was away. So he took that worry away from us. I didn't have to worry about what was going on with Max. Is Max okay? Because I knew he was with Ben, so he was fine. And then we were down in Sheffield. My partner Lauren was there for every episode. Matt and Kelly as well. So they were dealing with any other issues, so I could solely focus on the task at hand. So I'm very grateful for my support network and for that sort of Team Josh Army, because without them being at the live shows and helping me deal with other stuff so I could solely focus on the show, like I definitely wouldn't have been able to win it without them. Definitely.
Listen, you've landed back in Giffnock, and I said at the top of the show, I'm at Southsider, so
There we go.
you know, a lot of love for Giffnock. Do you get a lot of people now that are just coming up to you? And
Yeah, it's been insane. Obviously, the support around the south side has been fantastic. I actually had a meet and greet in the gym in Clarkson, Anytime Fitness, which is one of the 3 gyms that I sort of run. And the queue was wrapped around the building. We had planned to do like a meet and greet, because a lot of Anytime Fitness is such like a member centric facility. The staff know the members know the staff. It's a real community in there. So having one Gladiators, obviously all the members are coming up and congratulating me. And the first thing anyone says to me about Gladiators is, "Oh, my kids or my son or my daughter love the show," sort of thing. So with a lot of members sort of saying that, I thought it'd be quite good if they could bring their kids up and we could see the trophy and we could chat about Gladiators and stuff. So we planned a bit of a meet and greet which was going to be like an hour long, and then I was going to do like a kids class after, which I would lead, and we could do some functional fitness. The meet and greet, the class had to be cancelled because the meet and greet was just so busy. It took 2 hours just to get through the queue, which I'm extremely grateful for, and sorry to anyone that was in the queue for that long. But yeah, it was crazy just seeing all these kids coming up and just they're so ecstatic about the show. You don't realise until afterwards just the impact that it has and how much people are invested in it. So the support on the south side has been top tier.
Saturday night prime time TV. I mean,
it's
classic
unreal.
TV show from the 90s. It's been rejuvenated, brought up to
modern
standards, and the competitors as well. They were always very personality driven, but it's much like, you look at WWE, you look at boxing now. Persona is really important.
100% characters.
Who is it that you enjoyed meeting in terms of the
Gladiators? I mean, they all see the thing, as you said, they're all such different characters, so they all have a different sort of pull to them. But Legend was the one that I wanted to go up against from the start. Like, he's that sort of like cocky, arrogant, godlike gladiator that you just want to knock down a peg or two.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I did. I knocked him down definitely more than a peg or two. But he was the one that I was definitely so like wanting to go up against. But all the gladiators are amazing. Like, got Nitro, an Olympic sprinter, got Giant, who's like 7 foot and built like a house. Like, you want to go up against the biggest and you want to go up against the best, and all the gladiators on the show are such elite athletes that you're almost honoured to be battling them. Even Zach George, so Steele, he's been at the CrossFit Games, so like he's the elitist of the sport that I compete in. He's somebody that I would go and spectate and be like, wow, I wish I could be like him. So to go up against him face to face was a dream come true.
And you're competing in various High Rocks competitions. High Rocks is a buzzword, right? Because it's very much on the the cusp of trending topics on
It
social
is, yeah,
media.
yeah, it is.
Listen, we'll talk about your achievements. What's the buzz about High Rocks?
I think the buzz about High Rocks is that it's for everyone. Anyone can do a High Rocks. It's obviously very like aesthetic. It's been marketed very, very well in
Because
my
obviously a
opinion.
lot of people take their tops off. The guys take their tops off.
And I am guilty of that. Yes, it is hot in there. It's roasting. But yeah, I think it's been marketed well. I think it's very aesthetic. When you look at sort of the social media presence and all that around High Rocks, but High Rocks is so accessible. Anyone can do a High Rocks. My first one that I did in Stockholm, going back a couple of years ago, my perception of High Rocks was just what you see in social media, like shirts off, everyone's going rapid, and that was what I thought High Rocks was. And it wasn't until I done my first one where you actually see there's people walking the Ks. Like anyone can do a High Rocks. You can walk, you can run, you can sprint. It doesn't really matter. And why I think it's so popular is that it's you versus you. There's obviously thousands of people competing at any one event, but when you start and then when you cross the line, you've got your name on the board next to a time, and it's so individual, and it gives you something to work to improve upon, which I think is really, really important and really good. People can actively progress and train to improve their own time, regardless of what anyone else does. It's you versus you.
The fitness industry feels like, maybe because of social media as well, it just feels like it's in a sort of area that it's never been in before. You know, there's see plenty of supplements getting advertised. Obviously, a lot of people
Yeah,
maybe ordinarily who weren't, in certain sectors are competing,
yeah,
trying to do personal best. It's them versus them.
yeah.
Do you think that's all down to social media? Is that the
Yeah, I think
leading
I think
factor?
social media now with everything is just such a driving force. It's definitely like an attention era that we're in, and an attractiveness era that we're in. Everyone wants to have the most aesthetic product and have the biggest marketing campaigns and stuff like that as well. But ultimately, I think when you really break it down, no matter how good something looks on social media, it's never going to be sustainable if it's not effective. And the thing is with High Rocks is that it is really effective. People can go from never taking part in sport in their life, and what High Rocks does really well, it gives you that like athlete feel to it. As I said, I've been competing in sport my entire life, but I've got clients say that they want to take part in High Rocks and they get that sort of athlete experience. They get to go in to athlete registration. They've got a designated warm up area. They're out on the competition floor with thousands of people sort of watching. So, regardless of your time, ability, or experience, everyone that steps out onto High Rocks floor feels like an athlete in that moment, which I think is really powerful. And it's definitely addictive. Like as I said, I've competed in a couple of High Rocks and I've got a couple more booked in. I would never say it's my main sport. CrossFit's my main sport, and it always will be. Um, but every time I compete in a High Rocks, I'm like, God, I want to do another one now. It's quite addictive.
I do know a few people that are, sort of dotted around Europe. Like,
Yeah.
obviously they're based in Glasgow, but they're like, yeah, we just booked a. Before it would have been like, yeah, we've got a stag do in Barcelona. And
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
yeah, we're going to, X, Y, and Z. We've got one in Latvia. We've got one in
100%.
Barcelona.
And that's the thing as well. I think it's quite good about High Rocks or just sport in general. That sport seems to be becoming a lot more social. Like you've got run clubs now. Like everyone's going to a run club on a Sunday morning, going for a coffee. Like I know when I was growing up, I used to be you would go to the pub or you would
Yeah.
go to the park and drink at the weekend. But
Yeah,
now
that's right.
everyone's like going to the gym or they're going for a run. Yeah, instead of going like a lads holiday like Ibiza, you're going on a lads holiday to Helsinki, which is where I'm going in a couple of weeks to compete in a High Rocks event. So definitely sport is becoming a lot more social. Potentially that's off the back of High Rocks as well, but I think it's so powerful. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I was on like a night out, and nor would I want to. If I'm wanting to go and see my mates, we're going to go and get around the golf, or we're going to go to the gym, or we're going to go for a run, get some scran afterwards.
It's interesting you say that. It does feel like people have doubled down in where they're spending their money now as well, because
Yeah,
people could say, cost of living, but people have still got, disposable income, maybe not to the
yeah,
levels of before, but this generation, it's interesting because people would ordinarily have, especially in Glasgow,
mm.
just out Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Oh, yeah,
blittered, blittered.
100%.
And now, like you say, a lot more younger people are probably joining golf clubs.
Yep, yeah.
I can't play golf to save my life. I need to
Nor
really
can I, but I
learn.
still play it.
Aye,
Try to get once a week just 'cause it's fun. You're outside with your mates.
you're outside with your
and-
mates. It does feel like, you used to watch it in the movies all the time.
Mhm.
You'd have important meetings out on the
Yeah.
golf course.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think now it's like people have just redirected where their money
Mhm.
goes, and we all want to connect
Yeah.
with people. And I think probably actually just also as well, just on High Rocks, where does the stick come from? Because a lot of people are on social media, you know, especially when it's in Glasgow, you see like the Glasgow feed on X or Twitter,
Yeah.
and people will just be, you know, lambasting people, and they'll just be really gunning for them.
What, in terms of like people competing in High Rocks?
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, you know, tell me your, you know.
Yeah, well, I think it's. I mean, I see it from both sides because I compete in High Rocks, but I'm not a High Rocks athlete.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like run clubs,
not
for
a High Rocks
example.
athlete, yeah.
Buzzwords right now,
Yeah.
matcha, run clubs.
People
High
just
Rocks.
take it too far, I think, as well. Like, you see everyone now, and not that this is like everyone's got the Built for Athlete bags, they've got all
Yeah.
their patches, and everyone's like, what's your splits? It seems to be. I feel like the group of people that you're referring to that are so High Rocks focused and orientated, it's like their entire personalities. And don't get me wrong, like sport and exercise is a big part of my life, but it's not the only thing I do. I'll go out and play golf with my mates, and I'll go for dinner with my partner, and I'll play Mario Kart or Max. But there is definitely, and I can see it. There's a group of people that are so fixated on the sport that it just consumes everything. And ultimately, like, unless you're in the elite 15 and you're one of the best in the world, I think you can afford to relax a little bit. Like, we're all here to have fun. We're all here to improve ourselves. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'm good at High Rocks. I've got a flag, and it doesn't consume my entire life.
Yeah, I think it's all about belonging
Mhm.
as well. Like I'm out usually doing a lot of content creation and speaking to a lot of football fans.
Yeah.
And you can see specifically what it means to football fans to be
Oh yeah.
supporting your team, singing the song. Every conversation, people
Yeah.
come up to me, who do you think's going to win the league? You know, we'll talk about. You can talk to anyone in Glasgow about,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
specifically about Glasgow, but. This is not even me sort of, you know, I'd love to be. I've never done a high rock,
Yeah,
so maybe
yeah.
it's something I would
You
like
should.
to do. But I may get use my personal trainer. But a lot of people, like you say, they can be consumed by it. But maybe it's
Yeah.
just about a sense of
Belonging,
belonging.
yeah, it's community. I mean,
Community.
CrossFit gets used. I don't know if it necessarily still does. Maybe because I'm in it, I don't see it. But it used to be very like culty. Like if you're
Culty.
part of
This,
like a
yeah.
cult, CrossFit
That's what I
cult.
say. People that drink matcha are part of a cult.
Yeah, they are a cult,
They
to
are
be
a
fair.
cult. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a little bit with High Rocks. It's like if you're a High Rocks athlete, like all your mates are High Rocks, your girlfriend does High Rocks, you only wear gym gear
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a Built for Athlete bag. Like, it's very culty. There is people like that, don't get me wrong. But it's not the entire sport. It's not what it's all about. I think that's a little bit just because High Rocks is so popular just now, you can't go on your Instagram or TikTok without seeing something about High Rocks. So it seems to be just like overload High Rocks, High Rocks, High Rocks, which is what I think feeds into that cult mentality. But not everyone that does a High Rocks is a hybrid rock star by any means. Some people are out there just to have fun, go on a holiday with their mate, fling a High Rocks race in there, maybe try and improve on their time if they want. But yeah, and then you have the other end which push it a bit too far.
Yeah, with regards to social media, that's often, as we just said, that's often where you see people's achievements
Yeah.
because, you know, it's like their CV now. You know, this
Yeah,
is what I
that's
achieved.
exactly what Instagram is
Yeah,
now.
which is great because, you know, again, people on a Sunday now are going running and whatnot. They're not hungover. But is there such thing as the perfect athlete? Because you will see a lot of pages, maybe sort of bigger creators or whatever, and you know they've got all the recipes laid out. You know they've got their
Yeah.
you know physically aesthetic shots. But how realistic is all that?
See, the thing is with Instagram as well, and I've obviously always had an Instagram page, and now with sort of my awareness around Gladiators, yeah, I'm paying a little bit more attention to it because it is sort of like a CV. It's a way for anyone to get to know and understand you as a bit of a person. But I think it's very important to sort of hit home that comparison's the thief of joy, and Instagram and social media is like a highlight reel. It's very rare that somebody puts up a video of them failing on social.
Josh, in terms of that process, so you get through and you're chosen, and
Yep.
then what's the next stage?
So the next stage is your. I think people sort of think that you get to practice and prepare for the shows. Like, you honestly do not. The first time you do that, the games that you see on the show hanged off the wall is essentially when you're out there in front of the crowd. We do have a little bit of a training day in Sheffield, a couple of days in Sheffield before the show airs, and you get to just try all of the games. It's not to improve your performance in those games or to learn how to do it. It's just to see if you can physically do it, because the challenges are, some of them are really, really high, and some of them take quite a specialized skill, like hang tough. Not everyone can swing from rings like that way. So it's more just seeing, right, can Josh physically take part in these games? And then if he can, we tick it off and move on to the next one. So you don't get to go and practice it and prepare and learn it. It's just, can you do it? So then the next time you do it, and pretty much the first thing you do it, is when you're in front of 5,000 people in the Sheffield Arena with all these cameras and you're facing a gladiator. So you definitely are flung in at the deep end, which is quite nerve wracking. And with a lot of the games, the longest is 60 seconds. Some of them can be over as quick as 10 seconds. So it comes down to split second decisions. So it's more than just the physicality of it, it's your tactics and decision making.
What was the hardest challenge that you took part, or the
Oh,
stage?
do you know what it is? I didn't really find any of them too challenging. As I said, I'm very confident in my physical abilities. I know I can do anything, and I back myself against any of the gladiators and containers that I'm up against. As much as everyone's fantastic and really really good, I always back myself. The game that gave me the biggest problem was the wall, frustratingly, because it was actually one of the ones that I should have done best at. When we went down to Sheffield and we practiced out, I was flying up the wall. Like the wall was no issues for me. And when I was back in Glasgow, I went to a rock climbing centre in the south side and was practicing as well. So
The one at Kenning Park?
yeah,
Aye.
yeah. So I was prepped for it. I thought if the wall comes up, 10 points in the bag.
Yeah, yeah.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Every time I done that wall, I made a mistake. Every single time. To the point where I actually dreaded taking part in it because I thought, God, I'm just so nervous at making a mistake again. So
Is that where they're chasing after you?
yeah,
up the wall?
yeah, you get literally what feels like a half a second head start.
Aye.
It's obviously longer than that. You have to scale the wall and get to the top. If you get up there first, you get 10 points. If you get up there second, you get 5 points. Gladiators try to pull you off, no points. I got up the wall, thankfully, when I was up against Hammer. But I've had Nitro on that wall. Obviously, he's a whippet. You think he's fast on land. He's just as fast going off a wall. It's insane. So, yeah, the wall gave me a lot of problems, frustratingly.
Listen, it seems like you compete with any challenge really
Oh,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what was it called? The Travelator?
Travelator, yeah, the dreaded Travelator, yeah.
Because whenever you watch that, it's almost like, especially when you think, oh, they've got it, and then for any competitor, it's almost
Yeah.
like it's in slow motion.
Oh, it
Is
feels
that
like,
how it feels?
It feels like it's hard. It feels slow motion and over in a blink of an eye, if that makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's such like it's so quick, but when you're on it, you feels like you're running on it for ages. It's hard to sort of get across when you're watching it from the comfort of your own home. Just how steep it is. It's really steep and it's also super super fast. But as I said, I come from a track background and I'm very quick and I back myself in any foot race. But there's a technique to it. If you don't sort of get your first footing correctly, it just spits you out.
That's a great way to put it,
Literally
yeah.
spits you out. Yeah, yeah. You see it in my heat. Obviously, unfortunately, I lost my heat against Finn, who absolutely smashed it. Yeah, I hit the Travelator first and just got my footing wrong, and it just catapulted me back. But after I made that mistake once, I'd never made it again. And I think the Travelator and the Eliminator overall was one of the games I performed best at, and I think heavily led to me winning the show overall.
That's perfect.